Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jennifer Tom.
And I'm Darlene Rumble.
And it's Wednesday, 10:50, and we have our coffee. And I am looking forward to today's topic. And before we dive into today's topic, I want to say thank you so much for those who tuned in last week, for all your comments and suggestions. And, just remember, Grief Talk, we do this by sharing what we've learned through life and loss. And so we've made this our life mission to share our lessons learned, and we'd love to learn from you too. So last week it was amazing. That was good. Sometimes we feel like we are too deep. However, when we see the thumbs up, when we see friends joining us and sharing their thoughts, we just know that we are doing something that is amazing, because this life called journey, life events will happen, and when we can be there for each other and improve on ways how we deal with it, that's why we show up. Anyway, so do you have some friends out there who'd like to come hang out, have coffee with us as we discuss this topic, when losses pile up? And the most important thing is to remember, everybody responds differently. Well, do we ever have stories to share? We have stories to share, like personal stories. However, before we go very far, Darlene has a quote for us, which I love.
Yes. Um, I don't know. We all have different strengths and we all like different things, but I really like math. And I know that's strange, but one of the things I've learned why I like math is because there's always a solution. You can do an equation. There's always an answer. 1 + 1 always equals 2, and so. What I've learned in life though is that grief doesn't do math. So grief is not like
We have
math.
stories to share.
Um, when we wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be wonderful if grief was like math? When you looked at a series of numbers that you are adding together, the answer is always the same. Two different people can add the same list of numbers and the answers are always the same, assuming they add correctly. Once you learn the basics of addition, figuring out the answer is not difficult. That's what I like about math. I love solving equations. Um, but what we found out is grief is not like math. It comes up with a different answer, and so that makes it way more complicated.
I love that, Darlene. Thank you for sharing that, right? That means you're saying grief is not math?
It's not math.
It's so true, because grief is not the same for everyone. It is not the same for everyone. Grief is unique and everyone responds differently. I have to start with a personal story. We had a loss in my family, and I found myself I realized that my husband and I grieve very, very different. He he it was done. He didn't want to talk about it, and then I really needed to talk about it. I needed to discuss details. I needed to question. I just needed to talk, and I found that we truly are two different people. And if I did not do this work, i would have had I would have felt that I wasn't heard. However, because of the work we do, I realize he's different. He is grieving different. He doesn't want to talk about it. He's quiet, and I want to talk about it. I want to tell all the details. I want to tell all the stories. Like that's how I like. That's how I deal with my losses. Like, and when please remember, when we talk about loss, it's just not loss of a loved one. It's loss of anything, change. Last week I shared about my change with friendships and stuff. It's a loss. I needed to tell somebody, and the key is to find that safe place to find that safe person that you can tell. And actually, I'm excited. That's a topic that's coming.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find how do you find that safe person you can share those personal things? And how can you be that person? Anyway, let me not get off topic. Darling, keep me on track.
I love what you're sharing, just about how we grieve differently, and it doesn't mean if we grieve differently. So like Jen was sharing with her and her husband, it doesn't mean that one person doesn't care more about the other person. Sometimes we feel like if people aren't responding the way they are, the way we are, that they don't care, or that there's just that judgment that comes in when it's really that they just are grieving differently than we are.
Right. I'm watching out for my friends out there who are watching us. How have you experienced this where you grieve different, or you see someone else and you're like, oh, are they grieving? Are they not grieving? Like they just had this loss. Like, are they not caring? Are they not hurting? The key is our topic for today. The key is to remember we all grieve different. That does not mean we're not hurting. We are all hurting. We like we've seen it with our life experience and lessons in life that most families, when they've had a major loss, sometimes it affects the marriage, it affects their home, because sometimes we feel a partner is not caring, or they're not grieving the way we think we should do it. And that's why this topic is so big, that we need to understand we all grieve different, and that does not mean they're not hurting, right? So what's the solution for this? What's this? Now that we understand that we all grieve differently, it's not like a math equation. Darlene is amazing. She loves math. I call her engineer, Darlene. It's truly clear that grief is unique and everyone responds different. So what's the solution? Do you want to share that with us, Darlene?
Yeah, so one of the solutions, a solution, is rather than fighting over how others are coping or arguing about who's hurting the most, a better solution would be to accept each other, to accept that each other is hurting and coping in their own private ways. And the best thing we can do is take action to move forward. It sounds easy, but it's really a change of mindset. It's really our belief system that changes when we can accept everyone as unique, when we can stop trying criticizing or even criticizing, judging, or comparing how we grieve or our losses with others. Then we can just embrace that everyone's unique. We don't need to fix them. We don't need to get them to do the same thing we are doing because we don't know if that helps them. And so again, the solution is changing our mindset and giving that grace, right, to each other.
I love that. I love that, because when we understand that we all grieve differently and we respond differently, we'll do less judgment, we'll do less criticism, and we'll be listening with the heart, with ears. So today's grief talk, all we're saying is we are all unique, and it's not a math equation. Grief is not a math equation. Grief is not the same to everyone, for everyone. It's not the same for everyone. We are all unique. We grieve differently. And just because someone is not reacting the way we do, it does not mean they're not hurting. They're hurting, and they just grieve differently. So do you have any questions for us? Any comments? Do you agree that we all grieve differently? My personal story, I truly learned that firsthand with my husband, that we truly, truly grieve differently, and I respect that. And that does not mean either of us isn't hurting. It just means we are unique. And so until next Wednesday, I think Darlene will close it up for more information about this, because we love to share what we know, what we've learned.
So yeah, for more information, we have a great ebook about grief and loss, about defining grief. So if you'd like an ebook, please send us a free ebook. Please send us your email or a place we can connect with you. We also have When Flowers Aren't Enough, our book about lessons learned through life and loss. You can purchase it on our website, stronger-lifeconnections.com. And we wanted to share resources with you, so please connect with us. And yes.
I love it. So until next Wednesday, please connect with us, check out our resources, and remember, we are all so unique and we respond to grief differently. And when we give that grace to each other, we have no judgment, we have no criticism, nor analyze it. So I hope that was good today, and we look forward to next Wednesday. Enjoy your day.